You know, man, as black people in this country, we have allowed politicians to disrespect us for such a long time. I mean, the kind of tolerance we have towards politicians that are disrespecting us and failing to provide the services is unbelievable. It's unbelievable. As I'm sitting here, I cannot believe, how is it possible that today in 2024, black people in this country have never revolted against the ANC government? How is it possible that black people in this country have never said enough is enough? How can black people allow the ANC to come into the neighborhoods, to come into the townships, to come into the informal settlements and tell black people that the ANC loves black people, the ANC prioritizes black people? How is it possible, man, that no one is checking the ANC and saying, guys, you don't love black people, man? Because as we speak, statistically, black people are suffering the most in South Africa. And black people are suffering the most under your governance. Today, we have children. Our children are as good as uneducated. And these children are provided the education system with the ANC. Today, when we are sick, we cannot even go to the hospitals because our hospitals are a mess. Why? Because the ANC is governing. Right now, when criminals are trying to enter our homes, we cannot call 10111 because when we call 10111, no one is going to answer, or if anyone answers, the police are going to come here after 10 hours. There is nothing that is working in the lives of black people today. This is the reason why I'm saying I cannot believe that today in 2024, black people have never revolted against this ANC government. How is it possible? How is it possible? You know, one of the things that frustrates me, man, as someone who lives in the townships, this is something that I see a lot, especially now as we head to the elections. I remember this by remembering that visit of President Ramaphosa recently here in the Free State. You know, people in the townships, most of the time, the only time when people get to experience a service delivery is when the president is coming. I can tell you, when President Ramaphosa is coming, that is when you're going to start seeing the municipal trucks. That is when you're going to start seeing the municipal workers, man, fixing the sewages, cleaning the communities. And black people, man, are not saying, guys, you are disrespecting us. You only clean when one of yours is coming. Why don't you clean for us? Why don't you clean for us? For some reason, it is okay for these people to only clean the communities when the president is coming, when some members of the executives are coming. It is acceptable for these people to only clean the communities then. This is the kind of disrespect I'm saying that black people, man, we have tolerated from these black politicians. This is the kind of disrespect that we have tolerated. Nothing is working, man, in the lives of black people in South Africa. Nothing is working. And for some reason, black people within our neighborhoods, within the townships, they still see politicians as messiahs. They still see politicians as celebrities. This is the reason why the African National Congress will never be held accountable, especially by black people. If you think black people are going to hold the ANC accountable, then clearly you don't know what you are talking about. Black people in the country will never hold the African National Congress accountable because it doesn't matter what the ANC does. It doesn't matter how much money the cadre steal. It doesn't matter how much money the cadre steal that is supposed to build the infrastructure, the money that is supposed to improve the poor people's lives. It doesn't matter how much these people steal. Whenever these people come into the townships, people will always welcome them with open hands. People will always welcome them with open arms. I'm waiting for that day, man, when black people are going to say, guys, enough is enough. Enough is enough, because honestly, at this point, I am honestly starting to lose hope. I'm honestly starting to lose hope, man. I'm honestly starting to lose hope. These politicians, the fact that before the elections, these people will start promising people things. And people will still applaud politicians for promising them things, forgetting that in the past 5 years, the same politicians promised them things and did not deliver on their promises. No one is saying that you guys need to stop a bit. You promised us such and such in the past 5 years. You didn't deliver on those promises. But for some reason, you are here promising us another thing. What did you do about that promise? No one is holding these politicians accountable. And black people are not looking forward to holding the politicians accountable. This is the reason why politicians will always get away with nonsense in South Africa. This is the reason why politicians will always get away with nonsense in South Africa. You know, one of the conversations that I love, I would hear people talk. People in the townships, they will tell you that I don't mind if a politician is stealing as long as these people provide us with a service delivery. I don't care if a politician is stealing as long as politicians provide us with the service delivery. For some reason, it is okay within the townships. For some reason, it is okay within the black communities for politicians to steal from them. People have made peace with the fact that politicians will always steal from them. So people are saying it is okay if those people steal, but as long as they provide the services. So are we surprised today that people are not getting any services, but politicians are stealing? So people actually think that politicians have time to steal, and the same people who have time to steal will have time to provide the services to the people. This is the kind of naive talk that you will always hear in the townships. People will tell you that I don't mind if a politician is stealing, but at least if those people will provide the services for me. Today, are we surprised that there are no services in the townships and politicians are stealing? And this is the kind of disrespect that I'm saying as black people when we have allowed from politicians. This is the kind of disrespect we have saying that we have allowed from politicians. For politicians to come in the neighborhoods to promise people things, when they promised people things past 5 years, didn't deliver on those promises. For them to come again and promise people things, and for people to still clap hands for politicians, man, it tells you there's nothing wrong with the politicians, there's everything wrong with the black community. There is nothing wrong with the politicians, there is everything wrong with the black community. I know this is one of those videos where people are going to say, Thomas, you are being harsh on black people. Like, it's fine. It is what it is. There is nothing wrong with the politicians in South Africa. At this point, there is nothing wrong with the politicians in South Africa. I mean, guys, honestly, when you sit down, what is it that the ANC needs to do before you say, okay, I'm fine. I'm sick and tired of these people. I'm sick and tired of these people, man. I was thinking of going again because we are doing the street videos again this week. We will be on the street, guys. Please make sure that you check us out. You check that out. One of the questions that I want to ask the people is that, guys, what is it that the ANC needs to do before you say enough is enough? What more do you need the ANC to break down before you say enough is enough? I think this is one question that is facing black people, man. This is one question that is facing majority of the people in this country. What is one thing that the ANC needs to do before people actually wash their hands of the ANC? It's unbelievable, man. These people have disrespected black people for 30 years into this country. Today, under their democracy, today, under their governance, 60% of young people are unemployed. Most of these young people are black people, man. And when they come and say, we are giving you jobs, they are giving them piece of shit jobs, and they say the ANC is working for the people. They say the ANC is working for the people. They give young people 30%, and after giving them 30%, they are giving them these useless jobs, and they come out and say that the ANC is working. This is the kind of disrespect that we have allowed from politicians. We have allowed politicians to turn us into their doormats. We have allowed politicians, man, to turn us into imbeciles. We have allowed politicians to actually make us fight with each other while they are stealing everything. Black people, as we speak today, we are fighting about political parties. We are fighting about which political party we are going to vote for. We are fighting about who is a better black person between Ramaphosa and Malema. Who is a better black person? Who is a better political party? No one is saying anything about the kind of treatment that people deserve in this country. No one is saying anything about that. People are debating today about politics. People are debating today about the political party that needs to come in power. But no one says anything about the services that these political parties need to provide to South Africans. People simply want a certain politician to be in charge. They don't care if that person breaks down the country. They don't care if that person breaks down the country. They only want a certain person to be there. That's what they want. That's what they want. So when are black people actually going to stand up and say, guys, enough is enough? Or are black people have already given up on South Africa? Black people, have you guys given up on South Africa? How can we allow politicians, man, to come into the neighborhoods and still speak like the Premier of Gauteng?
There are 4 issues that you are going to fight these elections with in Gauteng. There are 4 issues. The first one, comrades, is that as the Gauteng provincial government, from the 1st of February, we will start to employ people so that we don't have young people that are unemployed in our province. Comrades, there were 35,000 young people came to an end in October. And 35,000 young people. We also want to declare, comrades, from the 1st of March, we need veterans of Umkhonto Wesizwe.
You know, if black people vote for the ANC again, they deserve everything. If black people in this country vote for the ANC again, they deserve everything they are going to get from the African National Congress. This is the reason why I don't feel bad. This is the reason why I don't feel anything, especially for the people in the Eastern Cape, those people in the rural areas in the Eastern Cape. Most of them, they will vote the ANC in the highest numbers. But do you see what the ANC has turned into that province? Do you see how children are attending school in the Eastern Cape? But the same people today, we are going into the elections. Guess what? They are going to vote the ANC in the highest numbers. So if black people continue to vote for such politicians, they deserve everything that is coming to them. They deserve everything that is coming to them. If black people are still going to allow politicians to play this game of promises just before the elections, we're going to play this game of promises. If black people are going to listen to politicians again, promising them things again, they deserve everything they are going to get.
From the 1st of March, we need those that were part of MK and other military organizations. We need 3,000 of you to come and join the provincial government to go and fight crime in Gauteng. All combatants of Umkhonto Wesizwe, don't go that side, come this side. On the 5th of February, we want to take you to train you to come and work and fight crime in Gauteng. Comrades of Soweto. Comrades of Soweto. We knew ESCOM was an opposition political party in Soweto. I want to declare to you, all the transformers that were not working in Soweto, the government that I have the honor to lead, have bought 2,500 transformers. We are coming to install all those transformers in all our areas.
And people are clapping hands for that, man. People are clapping hands for that. These are the same people, man, that were lied to in the past 5 years. These are the residents of Soweto who were struggling with the electricity in the past 5 years. I don't think there's a place in South Africa, man, that has suffered like Soweto when it comes to electricity. These are the residents of Soweto. These are the people that understand the wrath of the African National Congress. They understand how it feels like when your own black government hates you. These are the people that were supposed to say, we want nothing to do with you guys. We want nothing to do with you guys. But the same people are there in high numbers clapping for the new promises while the same party failed to deliver on the old promises. I don't think many people actually understand how important it is to vote right in 2024. I think many people actually underestimate how important it is to vote right in 2024. Because guys, like I said previously, I believe this is one election that is going to determine the future of this country. I think if people vote wrong on this election, that is when people are going to feel it. Everyone is going to feel it. As much as people are starting to feel how painful it is to live in South Africa, if people vote wrong in 2024, they are now going to feel how it is like. This is one election that South Africans cannot afford to mess up. This is one election where South Africans are supposed to say, guys, it is enough if we vote wrong. This one more time, South Africa is done. We no longer have the state-owned entities. We don't have the borders. We don't have the security. We don't have the police. We don't have government, basically. We don't have government, basically. So can you imagine what 5 more years of the ANC will do to South Africa? Can you imagine, man? Can you sit here and imagine what 5 more years of President Ramaphosa will do to the people of this country? Like, guys, is Ramaphosa even aware that every day when he's the president of the country, when people are depressed, is Ramaphosa even aware that his existence in union buildings literally depresses people? People are depressed in South Africa. The morale of the people is low. You speak with the people outside, people are just living to survive. People are not happy under the governance of Ramaphosa. Can you imagine what 5 more years of Ramaphosa will do to South Africa? Can you imagine what 5 more years of the ANC is going to do? Guys, I've picked up my fight. I picked up my fight. This is a fight that I'm willing to fight as we go into the elections. This is the fight that that I want to fight going to the elections. Guys, I don't want the elections to come here and the ANC winning the elections. I don't want to beat myself up and say that, guys, I did nothing. I did nothing. Now the country is going to be destroyed. By the time we vote again in 2029, the country will be completely destroyed. There will be no turning back then. Even if the DA wins at that point, there won't be any turning back. There won't be any turning back. The country will now be officially a failed state. Will be a failed state. Official. It doesn't matter who's going to run the country after these elections. If South Africans do not vote right on these elections, South Africa is gone. South Africa is gone. That's why I'm saying that if black people are still going to vote for the same politicians that hate them, the same politicians that are disrespecting them, they deserve every single inch of it. They deserve every single inch of it.
There will be no area that will not have electricity in Soweto. From next week, we are installing 6 every week until every part of Soweto has electricity. Comrades, before I sit down, I want to declare to you that the government I have the honor to lead believe in education.
You believe in education, man. You know, it is funny when the ANC goes around and saying that we believe in education, the literacy levels have gone up. You look at the fact that like young people in this country, man, they are only required of 30% to pass. 30% it is a disgrace. 30% it is a disgrace, man. And I think ANC should be ashamed of themselves by giving black people this kind of education. How is it possible for us to allow the ANC to say it loves black people when they are giving black people the 30%? How is it okay? How is it okay for the ANC to come and say we prioritize education? We prioritize education, but they don't care about black people getting a quality of education. They don't care about black people getting quality education. You can't tell me that as a government, you're going to go around and push the 30% education system and you're going to go around and say that you love your people. You don't love your people, man. You look at young people in this country. With this 30%, there's no way young people in this country will ever compete with the Chinese. There's no way we are going to compete with the Americans. There's no way we are going to compete with the rest of the world. Do you think young people in this country can compete with young people all over the world? Nothing. Nothing. So 30%, and you saying that you value education. How is the ANC valuing education when they give black people, man, 30%? The ANC gave black people 30%. The ANC gave black people broken down hospitals. The ANC gave black people ineffective South African police service officers. So for you to stand there and say ANC prioritizes this, how is it possible for those people, man, not to throw stones at you? Those people, man, were supposed to throw whatever they had in their disposals at you. For you saying that you prioritize education, you do not prioritize education. You do not prioritize education. And I honestly believe that what you guys have done with the education system in this country, it is treason. It is treason. Millions and millions of young people in this country, man, they are uneducated. They go around with their matric certificates, but these people are uneducated. 30%ers, bunch of 30%ers. And you people say that you love education. You love education, you value education, but you are giving children, you are giving children participation trophies. Now you are making sure that every single learner in the schools passes. And you people say that you value education. How do you value education? How do you value education? You look at the education that young people are getting in this country. Majority of black people are getting in this country. Do you think that is a quality education that can take you everywhere else in the world? Do you think young people in this country, they can go everywhere else with their 30%? Many people will laugh at you. People will laugh at you. Man, can you imagine going to America, getting to Harvard, taking out your report, and there you are, 30%. You've passed matric with 45%. Do you think that people will take South African serious? Do you think South African people will take South African serious? This is treason, guys. I don't know if you guys are aware what you have done to young people in this country. It is treason. Today, young people, man, have learned education system that only taught them to go out and seek for jobs. If they don't get jobs, they cannot start anything by themselves. Not because they don't have the resources, because they are not capable of thinking of starting things themselves. They are not capable of thinking to start things themselves. The education system you are giving to young people, man, you are giving young people education system that forces them to turn into employees. You are not giving young people in this country education system that turns them into entrepreneurs. You are not giving young people, man, education that turns them into business people. You are giving young people in this country education system that turns them into employees. Then you say that you value education. How can you give young people in this country education system that turns them into employees, but at the same time you are failing to convince the investors to come into South Africa? You are failing to convince the investors in South Africa to stay. I don't think you people have actually realized, man, what you have done with the young people in this country with the education system of Njimutera. That is treason.
For the first time in the history of education in our province, we've got close to almost all our district offices, all our matriculants in Gauteng. Out of 10 matriculants, 8 have passed with bachelor passes, and there are 57,000 of them in Gauteng are going to fill universities across the province.
And what's going to happen with them after the university? It's funny how you don't mention that part. What is going to happen to them after the university? We know that you guys are producing a lot of matriculants to go to universities. You produce a lot of matriculants to go to universities. Fine. What happens after university? Why don't you tell those people that, guys, our government is struggling to attain investors? Our government is struggling to provide the jobs for young people. We are struggling to convince people to invest into South Africa. We are struggling to keep the businesses in South Africa. It is fine for you to say young people are passing in high numbers and they go to universities. But what happens after the university? That is one story the ANC is not talking about. That is one story the ANC is not talking about. Guys, I'm sick and tired at this point. Man. And I believe that if black people, man, continue voting the way they have voted in the past 30 years, this time they are going to regret it for the rest of their lives. They are going to regret it for the rest of their lives. And I think this is one election that actually has potential of breaking South Africa. I think this election has a potential of breaking South Africa.
And we are saying, comrades, every child that is number 1 in each and every school in Gauteng, every child that is number 2 in each and every school in Gauteng, every child that is number 3 in each and every school in Gauteng, Gauteng government is offering a bursary until you finish of Nelson Mandela. We are children of Thabo Mbeki, and we are children of Cyril Ramaphosa. Ungasukeli singayisusa noma inini Amandla. Therefore,
guys, man, it really pains me, man. It really pains me how these politicians have treated South Africans, man. It really pains me. It really pains me. You know, you remember last time when John Steenhuisen was on the news, people were saying John Steenhuisen said that what John Steenhuisen said was racist because he correctly said that Panyaza of Panyaza Lesufi are a bunch of drunkards. He was correct. But for some reason, man, people said that John Steenhuisen was racist because he said pep and he mentioned the drunkards. It was all a nonsense hoo-ha. What I've realized with the people in this country is that they are willing to participate on such conversations. Such conversations, man, people are willing to stand up and go to the streets and protest. If someone says anything, if a white person says anything in this country, black people in this country, they will be willing tomorrow to wake up and go to the streets and protest. But the same people, when they are told that the politicians are stealing the money that is supposed to improve your life, they say nothing. They say nothing. So that one example tells you all what you need to know about black people in this country. That example tells you what you need to know about black people in this country. Guys, please tell me what you think in the comment section. Don't forget to hit that like button, and the most important part is subscribe. My name is Thomas Maba, so I will see you next time. Bye-bye.